Hello, I'm Dan, this is Vinyl Fury, and this is my entry into the Vinyl Tag 2023. Never done this before. I said I was going to do it last year, and I never got around to it. So here I am. It's still January. Going to do it. It's a great excuse to make another video already, and it'll also be a reason to show some of the stuff I haven't shown yet from last year. And so thanks, Rob Walker, for getting this kicked off this year. Great questions. I've seen a few videos already. They were great. So let's get into this one. Okay, so first, favorite release of 2022. There weren't that many new releases that I really listened to or got into over the years, so this is pretty easy. I would say it's the second solo album from Daniel Johns, Future Never. Just talked about this in my previous video if you want more details on that. The last band or solo artist you saw live. So it's been a few months now, but in October I saw Helmet and Quicksand together. That was great, but technically the last artist I saw was David Poe, singer-songwriter, who just came out with a new album called Everyone's Got a Camera. I'll put the artwork for it here. It's not out on vinyl yet, but it is coming, I think, fairly soon, or else I would show that. This is his last one, God and the Girl. Excellent album. It was great to see him. It's been, gosh, I think it's been 5 years since the last time he was around. So I hope it's not that long until next time. Number 3, their first album was the best. Rob showed Parachutes by Coldplay, which I think is a perfect choice. For some reason, I thought of the first album from Sparta, Wiretap Scars. This is a music on vinyl pressing, which is great. I love this record, 2002. They've done lots of great stuff since, but I would say the first one is the best. Number 4, Hat Trick. I don't think I've ever heard that term before, but show the vinyl, the CD, and the cassette of something. I could do this with several things, actually. The first 4 Silverchair records, the first Thread Blind album, I think a few more. But I went with Jeff Buckley, Grace. This is the ORG 45 RPM vinyl pressing. This is the one that came out a few years before that. Single disc. You can still find, I think this is the same cut you can still find in record stores. The original version of the CD. The Legacy Edition from 2004. Double disc. And the cassette, which is a promo, I believe. It says a picture of the key on the front. It's not the album cover. I think I got that on Discogs at some point. Number 5, album title that starts and ends with the same letter. Took me a while to find one. This is Sacrifices from Perfuse 73. Great album, by the way. Electronic DJ beat hip-hop stuff. Most listened to artist in 2022. There's not really one that I just played over and over again, really, but I think just by nature of how many records of his I picked up last year, it would have to be Dan Siegel, who I mean, if I've ever seen his albums before last year, I don't remember, but for some reason I came across a few of them, picked them up, I really enjoyed them, and then I've picked up several since. So some of these I've shown, some of them I haven't, but I'll just show all these. I believe I picked them all up last year. We got On the Edge, Reflections, Northern Lights. That's a photo of Dan there, if you can see it. The Hot Shot, Oasis. I think this is the first one that I got. Another Time, Another Place. And finally, a gold stamp promo of, what is this? I think this is self-titled. Dan Siegel is like a jazz fusion instrumental artist. All of these, I believe, are from the 80s. And he's also local. I believe he's from Eugene, Oregon. And for some reason, I just really like his vibe. So I've picked up a lot of his records. Number 9, Australian artist or band. It's an easy one for me. Silverchair, one of my favorites of all time. It's their first album, Frog Stomp, 1995. Very influential album to me. Number 10, Surprising Purchase in 2022. This is a record that I've seen the cover of numerous times. I've seen people show it in the VCLT the vinyl community since I stumbled upon the vinyl community all those years ago. Never had a copy of it. I still haven't listened to this copy. I still don't even really know what it sounds like. But it's a beautiful day on Columbia. Yeah, I still don't know what this one is about. And I picked it up, finally, for some reason. A great run of 3 albums. I thought about this for a bit. I thought, well, the first 3 Deftones records, the first 3 Foo Fighters records, the first 3 Silverchair records. There's a lot of options. But then it hit me, of course, the person who unfortunately only has 3 albums, and they're all phenomenal. And that is Nick Drake. Got 5 Leaves Left from '69. Brighter Later from 1971. And Pink Moon from 1972. Probably my favorite, I guess, Pink Moon, but I love them all. Number 13, an 80s soundtrack. Again, there's a few options for this, but one of my favorites is The Secret of My Success, starring Michael J. Fox. Several songs by David Foster. It's just such a great soundtrack. I love 80s posters like this. And the title track, The Secret of My Success by Night Ranger, is such a 1987 song. It's amazing. The structure, the hugeness of it, the bombastic synth, the soaring vocals, it's a phenomenal song. Check it out. Number 14, We Lost Them in 2022. I was going to show a Fleetwood Mac album for Christine McVie, but I actually don't have any of those anymore. And I really couldn't think of anyone else. I know we've lost a bunch of people from the music world the last year, but one that I have, that I know, I couldn't think of it. I did think of Brian St. Perry, I think, from Hum, the drummer of Hum. He passed away suddenly last year, in 2021. And I don't know if anyone knows really what happened to him, but I just figured I would mention that because I talked about Hum in my last video and how great that album Inlet was, and unfortunately that will be his last record. I don't know if Hum will continue without him. Pretty significant to that band. So that was a great loss. He was only 52. Number 15, disappointing purchase in 2022. Really not a disappointing purchase music-wise, but vinyl-wise, I bought 2 copies of Third Eye Blind Unplugged. So I'll put a photo of it here because I don't have it because both copies were severely warped. I sent them back. I just thought it wasn't worth it to try again. It was a fairly inexpensive double LP. I think I got it for $20. Sonically, it sounded fine, but it was just so warped I couldn't keep it. So I had to send that back, and that was disappointing. Non-vinyl purchase. Speaking of David Poe, again, I tracked down a cassette of his first album from '97, and this is a promo cassette. It's just a generic label. See if I can get that to focus. Yeah, his self-titled album from '97. Just found this for a few bucks on Discogs. And then I also tracked down his, I believe it's his first release from '96 called the Glass Suit EP. And all of these songs are on the first record, but I believe all of these are earlier recordings. 17, You Found a Grail. Doesn't specify last year, but there are a couple records that I would consider grails that I actually found, which were quite exciting. This one was pretty significant because it had been on my list to find for a long time. There's only maybe a couple hundred of these, a few hundred, and that is the Mercury program, A Day to Learn the Language, from 2002. And this is an original pressing. It was just so hard to find, and then one day I go to a record store in a suburb of Portland where I've found a few surprising things before, but never expected to see this. And there it was. And for a pretty decent price considering how rare it is. And I was just ecstatic. Space-themed album or sleeve. This was a no-brainer. To the Moon from Time Life, about the mission to the moon, records, and a full book on the inside. I showed this actually. I did this series called Random Records, where I would use my Discogs app and have it show a random record and then pull that and talk about it. And this was one of those, so I'll leave a link to that if you want more info. Certainly a space-themed jacket. Number 19, shows some VCLT. And I am lucky enough to have a few pieces of VCLT. The first one that came to mind was Melanie DiBiasio, No Deal, from, what is this, 2013? An excellent, like, neo-soul R&B. I had never heard of her before, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it. It's a great record. Great cover, too. Very much a throwback. Oh, yeah, I missed one. Number 6, Born in the Same Year as You. I couldn't think of one. I Googled a list of musical artists born in 1983. Couldn't find one that I had a record by. There was a couple, like Carrie Underwood, I think, stuff like that. Just no one that I knew and had a record by, which is kind of surprising. I can think of several that are just before, just after 83, but I couldn't find one exactly born in 83. But number 20 is Show a Record released in 1973, and for me that is Houses of the Holy from Led Zeppelin. Classic album, classic cover, and that one is for Rob in Boston. Okay, so that is my entry into the Vinyl Tag 2023. Thanks for watching. Glad I got to do it. Thanks, Rob, for putting it out there. It's kind of a throwback to early VC days where we would do these threads. Haven't really seen that for a while. Certainly haven't done it in a long time. So this was a nice opportunity. So with that, hopefully it won't be too much longer until I find another reason to make another video. So until then, thanks for watching. Take care and enjoy your music.